Hi everybody, I am Kristen Lloyd with Bariatric Mindset, and I wanted to do an introduction video today to tell you a little bit about me, what I do, and also to share with you more information about my new books, Bariatric Mindset Success and the Bariatric Mindset Success Accountability Workbooks. And I also want to share that for a couple different times in November and now today, December 1st, 2017, we are on the Amazon bestseller list. So if you have not had a chance to pick this up, I'm going to give you tons of reasons why in this video that this book is really going to change your life. And after having bariatric surgery. One of the things that I'm going to talk about today is the fact that I am not only a psychotherapist, but I'm also a 4-year VSG post-op. And that's the reason why I wrote this book. And this book is my baby, and I'm really excited about it, really proud of it, because it catalogs not just my journey as a patient, and I don't go too far into the nitty-gritty, but it also talks about a lot of the experiences that my clients have been through. And I've been working in the field of psychology for way over 10 years. And as a pre-op, I did just about everything to lose weight. And I even went to an eating disorder specialist thinking there's just gotta be something wrong with me. And this specific person that I went to really was just interested in putting me on a diet. And that really, really frustrated me. And part of the reason that I have such passion for this book is that I talk about it not just being about the food, but it really being a whole lot deeper than that, and going into the psychology behind the food and the reasons why we eat that I actually didn't really figure out until after I had surgery. Because again, before surgery, I had tried everything. I had been on the pills, I had been on the HCG, I had a personal trainer for a very long time. I had food deliveries, I had I went through a lot of things, and I also had experiences where I even shared this with my pre-op therapist, or the person who did my psychological, was that I would hide food. I would almost like abuse food, I guess you could say. Like I would overeat or binge. I wasn't a purger, but I would binge and then I would hide the evidence. So a lot of times I would hide foods in different places, and food was very much like a stimulus for me. It was, I ate when I was bored, I ate when I was sad, I ate when I was happy. Food was just one of those things that was a huge comfort for me. And I talk about a lot about that in this book, and about the things that I experienced as a pre-op and as a post-op, and then kind of the differences. And I try to give some generalizations that I have seen over the last couple of years of working in the field with bariatric patients, with people who have had weight loss surgery, in addition to sharing some of my own experiences with weight loss and with just having experience being extremely, extremely obese, and really feeling all of the feelings that go along with it, the shame, the guilt, the doubt, the self-criticism, and all of those things. So a little bit more. So 4-year VSG post-op in 2017, I have lost 200 pounds and kept it off, and that is huge. That's another reason why I wanted to share this book, because I'm also a PhD candidate in psychology, and share that what I found in my clinical research that other studies have done is that approximately 40% of people who have bariatric surgery will regain weight in 5 years. And that's what that one statistic tells me. It doesn't tell me how much. It doesn't tell me that they've regained it all, or 20 pounds or how much, but what we know in the research is that regain is an issue. And so what I kind of cover in this book are some of the reasons behind the regain, because I've seen it enough in my practice where there are people who really still have the emotional eating issues, or they have what I call autopilot behaviors or poor habits and not planning, and a lot of different behavioral issues that within the first 6-8 months or so, or even that first year, which again doctors call the honeymoon period, that people are doing awesome, and then after they like go out a little farther, then all of a sudden like they start to slack. And so one of the things that was really potent that my surgeon told me before surgery that I've carried with me to this day is he said, look, you have a window of about 2 years. 2 years as a post-op to lose absolutely as much weight as you can, and after that 2 years, it's going to be really difficult for you to lose more. And so that has stuck in my head. Another thing that he shared with me that I thought was really impactful was he was a patient himself. And one of the things he said he said, look, I'm going to be honest with you. If you really want to get in 3,500 calories a day, he's like, you'll be able to do it. He said, but I'm warning you, I'm telling you this not to scare you, but to share with you that you've got to be really conscious about what you're eating and when you're eating, and that you're sticking to your plan. And of course, these things really stuck with me, and it did scare me because I thought, oh my gosh, I could actually regain. And he didn't give me any statistics. I actually found those on my own, again, in working on doing some of this clinical research, because that's what my dissertation, or in lay terms, that huge paper that you write at the end, that actually gives you the doctorate. That paper that I'm writing, that research that I'm doing, is on the process of lifestyle change after bariatric surgery. So what I've done is I've had to gather all of this research, and it's just staggering how many people regain weight. And then I see in social media all of these people that are really struggling with regain, and I thought, wow, this is really an opportunity to share some of the tools that I've learned, not only as a professional but also as a patient, that other people can use to really change their lives. Because as we know, the biological components before surgery are huge. So I experienced that because I had gotten to such a weight where it was really difficult to lose and sustain the loss. And so really bariatric surgery, weight loss surgery, was a huge success for me, was a tool that I could use, that I could actually lose that 200 pounds and keep it off. But that part, the biological part, was kind of, I don't want to say taken care of by surgery, but largely the surgery, what it did was it kind of gave my body a reset, right? So that's what I believe it did in order for me to really start losing. So it was a huge opportunity. So I see surgery as a tool that can be used, but then again, we can't go back to the old habits of, drinking a lot, smoking. When I say drinking, I mean soda, but also alcohol, and having a lot of alcohol is definitely not good either. So those things, right, that are old behaviors, like the Big Macs and all of the fast food and things like that you may be used to on a very regular basis, those are the things that we've got to shift, right, in terms of behavior, so that you can lose and keep it off long term. And so what I believe is the component that's missing for post-ops is the mindset piece, because how we feel about food, how we see food, the perspective about it, and what food does for us, soothes and the feelings. And also, again, from a psychological perspective, food can give us that dopamine hit for our brains that just kind of, right? So if you've ever known somebody who's like, I need a piece of chocolate right now, those are the kinds of things that food does for us. And another thing I talk about in here is really how we go, everything we do is around food. We just had Thanksgiving, so food. Christmas, food. Around this time, there's tons of food. Then what happens in January? Then there's Valentine's Day, and then there's candy, and then there's more food, and then there's Easter, and then there's more food. If you go to a wedding or a baby shower, what is there? Food. And then if you go to a funeral, there's food. So really, this is a great opportunity for you as a patient to change your relationship with food, because that's one of the things that I am so grateful for, that I've done, and I share more about that in here with regards to changing that relationship with food. And another thing I talk about in here is like who we are as pre-op patients and some of the behavioral characteristics of pre-op patients, and the changes that occur after. Because that's a lot of times what people will say is, well, what's going to change other than my body? Well, there are a lot of things that'll change especially when you start to value yourself more, respect yourself more. I see a lot of obese individuals, myself included, who had really poor boundaries, who put up with a lot of crap. I said yes to things. We say yes to things that we really don't want to say yes to. We feel resentful and we feel like our boundaries are pushed. And quite frequently I'll do a presentation that I talk about Brene Brown's research in boundaries. And if you don't know who she is, feel free to look her up. She has quite a few books that are amazing. Where we say yes to things and then we get very resentful. And then what happens, we can't get those feelings out. So then we eat. So I talk a lot about that in here. And so that's why I think that this is just such a great asset to every post-op for the psychological journey after surgery. And so I definitely encourage you. It's on Kindle and it's also on in paperback on Amazon. And again, it's a bestseller, so I want to share that. The accountability workbook is also really important because I know not everybody has access to a coach or a therapist, and I am both. I am a coach. I do coaching online and in my office, and I'm also a psychotherapist, and I work with post-op patients. I don't do any pre-op evals. I get asked that a lot, but I don't. I just do the counseling piece, and I realized that some of my clients don't need counseling. They really need coaching because they really need that encouragement and that accountability. And so I created this accountability journal for those who really don't have access to that, or who don't want that one-on-one or group attention that a therapist or coach may provide, but really want something to like show them that they're making changes within their not just within their habits, but also within their brain. And so this is the 6-month full color version of the book. The full color version, I have to tell you, is quite pricey because of the printing costs. So I have both options online on Amazon. So regardless of what your budget is, that this is something that is it is very cost effective. Because you can get the black and white one, and it's really worth it to have 6 months of looking at data. And I know not everybody's a scientist, and that's okay. But when you look and you're able to see, okay, I had a really rough week that week, or this month I was totally off, or this month I was totally on, and that's the month that I lost the most weight, or that's the month that I stayed on track. Oh my gosh, I have to repeat that. This gives you insight into your behavior and also into yourself. And I like to go deep in here because I think that a lot of times we're just floating on the surface. Because when the doctor says, wow, okay, so you have 5 pounds of regain. What's been going on? I mean, y'all have seen my 600-pound life. You see what they're eating in there. So you go and they're like, well, yeah, I haven't been drinking my water, or, and you know that they were just having egg rolls like the day before, or you saw them. I think I saw the episode with the fried wontons. Like, okay, so if you're eating that, and there's shame around the weight gain. And I get that. But so what this is helping you to do is to not feel the shame, but to stay accountable and to say, okay, if I put that in my mouth, if I'm going to do this, then there is the chance that I'm going to experience regain. And if I do it enough times over and over and over, the negative behavior, the bad behavior, making the poor choices, then I'm at risk for regain. And so what this does is it brings back that awareness to say, okay, do I really want to experience the regain? No. So what am I going to do? I'm going to track. I'm going to track what I'm eating. I'm going to track how I'm feeling. And I'm going to track, my water, my supplements, and I'm going to go through all the things that are in here because I think it's so valuable, which is why I created it. And I created it with all of my clients and myself in mind.